Luxury isn't about brands. It's not the car you drive or the watch on your wrist. It's not even the wealth in your bank account. True luxury is a presence, an energy that moves through the world with purpose, elegance, and restraint. It's rare because it cannot be faked. It's not bought, it's embodied. Carl Jung, one of the most profound thinkers in modern psychology, explored the deep workings of the human psyche. His insights weren't just about therapy, they were about transformation. Jung taught that the inner world, when understood and mastered, could shape how others perceive us. In today's video, we uncover 9 psychological keys inspired by Jung's teachings and philosophical traditions to help you become luxury in the eyes of others, not through appearances but through timeless essence. Watch until the end, because one of these may be the mirror your soul has been waiting for. Key 1. The power of individuation. Be the original. Carl Jung believed that the process of individuation, the integration of the conscious and unconscious mind, was the path to psychological wholeness. Most people conform to societal expectations and lose their authentic identity in the crowd. But luxury isn't a copy, it's the original. And in a world of mass production, the truly unique becomes priceless. Individuation means learning who you truly are beneath the personas you've adopted. It's uncomfortable. It requires solitude, shadow work, and courage. But when you strip away imitation, you uncover your core. And from that core, a magnetic presence is born. People can feel it. They may not be able to explain it, but they know they're in the presence of something real. Those who walk the path of individuation begin to emit a signature energy, one that feels rare, self-possessed, and captivating. Like a custom-tailored suit or a handcrafted perfume, your essence becomes unmistakable. Jung said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." That right there is the foundation of luxury. Key 2. Mastering the art of absence. Silence is luxury. Luxury doesn't chase. It doesn't shout. It allows itself to be pursued, longed for, and appreciated. Carl Jung emphasized the value of detachment, not as a game, but as a form of psychic balance. When you're always available, always explaining, always showing up, your value diminishes. Luxury requires mystery. The art of absence is powerful. Not just physical absence, but emotional and energetic restraint. It's in knowing when to pull back, when to say less, and when to let your silence speak volumes. Jung warned against compulsive validation seeking. People who can sit in their own energy without needing to be seen are often the ones who stand out the most. Think of how the rarest items in the world are always out of reach, whether it's art, diamonds, or destinations. What's rare is revered. What's scarce is special. You don't need to be the loudest person in the room. Be the one whose absence is felt. That's when people begin to see you as something, someone they cannot replace. Key 3. Embodying archetypal power. Become symbolic. Jung's theory of archetypes explains that the human psyche contains universal patterns, characters we recognize across time, culture, and myth. These include the ruler, the sage, the warrior, the lover, and more. People instinctively respond to these energies, even when they can't consciously explain why. To be seen as luxury, you must choose and embody an archetype with intention. The sage, for example, exudes wisdom, stillness, and timeless grace. The ruler commands respect without trying. The lover draws people in through emotional depth and magnetism. These archetypes hold subconscious power, and when embodied authentically, they give you a mythic quality. Why does this matter? because symbols don't age, they don't go out of fashion, they are eternal. When people begin to see you not just as a person, but as a living symbol of power, elegance, or mystery, you step into a realm of influence that transcends logic. You become unforgettable. You become luxury incarnate. Key 4. Embrace stillness and composure, the energy of power. Luxury is calm. It doesn't need to prove itself. And Carl Jung knew that true power arises from inner peace, not control, not dominance, but composure. The world is chaotic. People are reactive. If you can remain centered amidst chaos, you instantly rise above the crowd. Stillness doesn't mean silence. It means deliberate energy. Your posture, your gaze, the cadence of your voice. These things communicate far more than words. When you move with intention, you signal presence. Presence is what makes people stop and pay attention. It's what gives the impression of substance. People gravitate toward those who are composed because they sense safety, confidence, and something deeper. Jung said that what irritates us in others is a mirror of ourselves. If you can remain unaffected, thoughtful, and emotionally centered, you become the mirror that others aspire to become. And that's what luxury feels like, something they want but can't quite reach. Key 5. Intentional aesthetics. Design your energy. Everything about you sends a message. Your clothes, your scent, your voice, your digital presence. Jung believed that outer expressions often reflect the inner self. If you want to be perceived as luxury, then every detail must be intentional, not performative, but true to your essence. Your aesthetic doesn't need to be flashy. It needs to be refined. Think about the objects, colors, and styles that resonate with your identity. Curate yourself like a work of art. The world doesn't need more people wearing brands. They need people being brands. You are the product. Make your aesthetic feel like a signature scent, subtle but unforgettable. Luxury is found in simplicity with soul. Jung once said, "The shoe that fits one person pinches another." You don't need to follow trends. You need to express your truth through beauty. When everything about you, from the way you speak to the way you move, feels designed, people can't help but be drawn in. Key 6. Emotional sovereignty. Own yourself, don't perform. Jung's shadow theory teaches us that the parts we hide hold the keys to our wholeness. Most people are owned by their emotions. They react, over-explain, implode, or lash out. But luxury lies in emotional sovereignty, the ability to feel everything without being ruled by it. This doesn't mean emotional coldness. In fact, it's the opposite. You feel deeply, but you choose consciously. People admire those who can hold their ground when others lose theirs. When you integrate your shadow, when you accept your flaws and navigate your triggers with grace, you begin to glow with quiet power. Imagine walking into a room where your presence calms others, where people can feel your depth, but also your peace. That's emotional sovereignty. It doesn't seek approval, validation, or even praise. It simply is. And that's what luxury does. It changes the room just by existing. Key 7. Speak with poise and precision. Let your voice be velvet. In the philosophical tradition, from Socrates to Jung, speech was sacred. Jung believed the unconscious revealed itself through language. Most people speak carelessly, not realizing that every word is a spell they cast on themselves and others. To be seen as luxury, you must speak with intention. Speak less, but mean more. Let your words carry weight. Use silence as punctuation. When you talk, make people lean in. Choose elegance over arrogance, clarity over clutter, truth over performance. People remember voices that move them, not just with what is said, but how it's said. Your voice, your tone, your vocabulary should all reflect your inner architecture. Speak like someone who doesn't just know things, but embodies wisdom. That's when they'll start listening with their soul. Key 8. Create an aura of depth. Surface doesn't seduce. What makes luxury so desirable is that it always hints at more. More layers, more meaning, more substance. Carl Jung believed that the human soul was deep, symbolic, and mysterious. And those who explore their inner world begin to develop an aura that others can feel. People are tired of surface-level conversation, temporary attention, and shallow ambition. When you cultivate your mind and your spirit through philosophy, art, solitude, and silence, you become someone who stimulates others. You become a walking conversation, a living library, a mystery wrapped in presence. Luxury isn't just about appearing deep, it's about being deep. It's about being the person whose words linger in minds long after you've left the room. The one who opens doors in others they didn't know existed. That's real depth, and that's unforgettable. Key 9. Live with purpose, not performance. Luxury is alignment. The final, and perhaps most important key, is purpose. Carl Jung warned us against living a life dictated by ego or expectation. True fulfillment, and by extension true luxury, comes from living in alignment with your deeper self. Not the self the world expects, but the self your soul knows. When you live with purpose, you don't need to perform. You don't need applause, approval, or validation. Your life becomes a statement of intention. You walk with quiet authority. You don't chase trends because you are the standard. That's what gives people the feeling that you're not just successful, you're sovereign. Luxury is purpose distilled into action. When people sense you're living a life of meaning, they feel something sacred around you. And in a world of distractions, a person with purpose is the rarest luxury of all. In the end, luxury is not what you wear, but what you carry inside. It's not about showing more, it's about being more. Carl Jung didn't just leave us a map of the human mind. He left us a philosophy for how to become unforgettable through self-awareness, depth, stillness, and purpose. If this resonated, don't just scroll, transform. Subscribe for more timeless insights. Comment below which of the 9 keys are you ready to embody. Until next time, elevate, don't imitate.